Meg going down the toilet. Meghan digs her own grave as A-listers turn a deaf ear to her podcast. This week, it was Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, who was making waves when it was revealed that she had sought to trademark the 476-year-old word archetypes, which just happens to be the name of her recently announced debut podcast. Fleet Street promptly worked itself into an indignant lather over the trademark move, taking it as proof of the Duchess' supposedly overly inflated ego, all of which conveniently ignored the fact that words such as apple and metu are also similarly legally protected. This particular commotion, however, obscured the real issue with this podcast, for which the first details came mid-March. The show, hosted by the Duchess of Sussex, would be called Archetypes, and would investigate the labels that hold women back. In a statement via their production company Archie Audio, a spokesperson said, "We are excited to announce that we are continuing production of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex's groundbreaking first podcast series." A week later, a trailer dropped, finally. Groundbreaking? At best we could term this trailer a tame wrapping of said ground. The teaser features various unnamed voices offering lines like "She's a SLT." Before later we get to the good stuff, I'm Meghan, and this is Archetypes, the podcast where we dissect, explore, and subvert the labels that try to hold women back. Since then, none of the A-list female heavyweights such as Amal Clooney, Serena Williams or even Oprah Winfrey, who are ostensibly Team Sussex, have come out to express their excitement about this project. If there is one word, still untrademarked as far as I know, that sums up the international reaction to Meghan's trailer, it was simply yawn. The whole thing felt so predictable it was certifiably soporific. While the trailer's release was dutifully reported on, the whole thing failed to make anything even resembling waves or generate any real noise at all. Here's the point where I chuck in a big, fat caveat. What is remarkable is that going into both this podcasting foray, and their reported $134 million Netflix deal, Harry and Meghan have been handed every journalist, writer, content creator, director, producer and opinionated nobody's wet dream. The only thing bounding what they could do was their imagination and how much filming they can squeeze in before their afternoon qigong session. My point is, the possibilities and the scope here feel nearly endless. Having left the royal family, having a whole new nation and continent, indeed, a world, to make a mark on, poised to lead and break barriers and shake things up with truly thrilling verve, and yet what we have seen so far of the Sussexes' creative efforts is all just so anemic and flaccid. Not a single one of the endeavors they have announced so far, not the books, the podcast, the streaming viewing or charitable undertakings, has moved the dial in any significant way. They are not emerging as the exciting new voices we all thought, but two overpaid amateurs bereft of much by way of any original thoughts. None of the projects which Harry and Meghan have rolled out in their now more than 2 years of freedom have set the world on fire, let alone produced much of a spark. Which is to say, they have to prove to the CEOs of Netflix and Spotify, and any other corporate behemoth eyeing them off as big-name hires, that they can make people sit up and take notice. Whether it's critical acclaim, a wall of little gold statues, or the sort of streaming figures that would put Bridgerton to shame, what Harry and Meghan will have to demonstrate is that they can make an impact if they want to keep the money rolling in. 2 years ago, a trailer for a podcast from Meghan would have been headline-dominating news, every word and pause parsed and interpreted and generally pored over. And yet now, the response to Archetypes is essentially May. And May doesn't pay. May doesn't translate to invitations to the world's most powerful women forum or Davos or brunch with Jeff Bezos. May is, in fact, dangerous territory. May is, in fact,